A lot of focus there on the modelling or lack thereof when it comes to the government's climate plan. And I guess also the other question mark is what was there, other than what we know about, when it came to the deal with the National Party?
It is, Kieran. So what else did Barnaby Joyce and the Nationals secure for their support for a net zero emissions target? There is a view in the senior ranks of the government that there is more on the table for the Nationals than another cabinet spot and a productivity commission review of the net zero target. It's been speculated to me that changes to the EPBC Act governing environmental laws could occur through regulation. There might also be some promises for the election campaign ahead. There was a letter from the PM to the Nationals with certain promises. The PM yesterday mentioned $20 billion worth of spending by 2030 for projects in the region such as hydrogen and carbon capture, but that is funding already committed. Scott Morrison pretty cagey on some aspects of this, including the modelling underpinning the assumptions contained in the Australian Way plan. A Senate Estimates Committee heard this morning it is not Treasury modelling. It is modelling for Energy Minister Angus Taylor's department, assisted by Mr Taylor's old firm, McKinsey. I'm told the modelling around this will not be released for at least another 2 weeks. Not the best distraction to the announcement. Scott Morrison ends up getting asked by Carl Stefanovic this morning if it's more a prayer than a plan.
OK, changing the messaging. On your net zero emissions target announcement, it's more a prayer than a policy, isn't it?
Well, no, not at all. I mean, what this is our plan to hit net zero emissions by 2050, and to get there not by taxing people and regulating people and telling them what they have to do, but supporting the choices they're making, developing the technologies that are going to change the world. Now, those who think that technology is more of a prayer than taxes and regulation, I disagree with them. Those people never would have bought Microsoft shares or Apple shares. They would never thought we would have had something like this. I mean, technology is moving at rapid rates, and that is a far more bankable proposition than people turning up at conferences and making rules and taxes.
He's been waving that phone a lot today, Scott Morrison. I'll show you some more of that in a minute. Nevertheless, he has his net zero plan to take to Glasgow with Nationals approval. A win, although one minister did remark to me that it was just a continuation of the current policy of government essentially, and it was crazy that Barnaby Joyce, Bridget McKenzie and co had threatened to blow the show up as a result. Let's have a look at question time. Some of these uncomfortable questions for the PM on the modelling. He says eventually you'll get it.
Why didn't the Prime Minister ask Treasury to model the impact? Why won't the Prime Minister release the modelling he claims to have?
The Prime Minister has the call.
Will be released in the next couple of weeks, Mr Speaker.
Will the Prime Minister now table the modelling for his so-called net zero plan?
The Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The modelling will be released in the next few weeks, Mr Speaker. I've made that very clear.
What is the reason why he says he's releasing the modelling in a few weeks rather than now? Don't Australians deserve the right to see it?
The Prime Minister.
Of course, Mr Speaker, we'll be fully transparent about the policies as we have been, Mr Speaker, and we will release that modelling in the next few weeks. That's exactly what we'll do.
Must admit, I heard Cabinet saw the modelling and there's no great shock in any of it, so I do wonder about this delay. Scott Morrison here waving his phone around as he's saying technology will get us there, technology that's not there yet, as it has in other industries, in other ways of life.
And I say to the Leader of the Opposition of the Labor Party, what have they got against technology, Mr Speaker? Why do they not have a confidence that in the next 30 years that in the world today, Mr Speaker, we will not see technology breakthroughs which will ensure that we'll be able to close the gap? If that's the case, they should never use one of these because they don't believe they exist, Mr Speaker.